UFC fighters who would destroy UFC 205 Conor McGregor. I'm naming 4 fighters, but there's much more that would beat this version of Conor. Alright, let's see what he's got to say. Starting off with Khabib. Khabib already dominated a prime Conor. He would dominate him again. Round 2 or 3, ground and pound KO. Well, I think that was not the best version of Conor McGregor, right? That was like not super hungry anymore. He just came off fighting Floyd Mayweather. I don't think that was the best version of Conor. I think UFC 205 version was the best version of Conor. Now, do I think Khabib wins? Yes, because Conor just doesn't have that one punch knockout power at 155 pounds. And the same thing's going to go for the rest of these fighters. So I do think Khabib wins, but I think it's going to be a bit more of a difficult fight because I think that's hungrier Conor McGregor. Armor would dominate Conor. Conor has some of the worst cardio and would gas out from wrestling 49-46 Armin. I do agree it'd probably go to a decision, but I think on the feet, I think Conor actually has a better chance because Armin's ground control and like ferociousness is not nearly as good as someone like Khabib's. I think that Armin might be a better pure wrestler, but in terms of how it's used in MMA, I think that Khabib's style is more effective against someone like Conor with that constant chain wrestling style. I think Armin could implement something like that, but I think that this fight would be a little bit less difficult for Conor than someone like Khabib. Islam would toy with him round 3 KO or 50-45. I think that Islam would probably submit him in round 1 or number 2. Like I think that Islam is better on the ground than Khabib was when it comes to the submission work, and I think that he'd probably submit Conor pretty fast. As well as Islam's the more technical striker. He's a southpaw, which Conor historically has struggled with. He would have to rely on Islam to basically make a dumb lunge and expose his chin and have Conor knock him out, essentially. I mean, Volk was able to drop with a shot, so maybe Conor could too, but I still think Islam wins round 1 or 2 sub. And lastly, you got Ilya Taporia. Round 1 KO, Ilya slumps Conor a round 2 sub. I actually think that this is probably the easiest fight for Conor out of everybody, considering the fact that Ilya doesn't generally wrestle all that much. He could absolutely go that path, but I don't think he would just because of how big of a money fight Conor McGregor would be. And if he was able to knock out Conor on the feet, it would do him wonders for his social media, for money. Everything would just go through the roof if he fights Conor on the feet. Now, that is logical. Idealistically, he would wrestle, but I wouldn't guarantee it. And I think that the shorter orthodox fighters, that constant head movement, I think could get timed by Conor. But like I said, Conor's power at 155 just isn't the same like it was at 145. I would slightly favor Ilya, but I think this is his easiest matchup out of the 4 names you mentioned.